All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying coverage for the Bank of America Roval 400 from, of course, the Charlotte Roval for this weekend's NASCAR Cup Series Round of 12 elimination race. And as we get practice started here in a couple of moments, cars are rolling out onto the racetrack. We're going to start the stream off today with some NASCAR trivia. So all the Group A drivers are just now hitting the racetrack for their 25 minutes group practice session. Then when we get to Group B, you'll get to listen into the TV broadcast on True TV, which is where you can watch visual purposes of today's practice and qualifying action. And in Group B, we'll have all 12 of those playoff drivers that are remaining in their quest for the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship. We'll obviously review what happened in Group 1 as well, any breaking news to update throughout the course of the trivia time frame of the stream. Then I will be sure to relay that message to you all, the fans. So appreciate everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more NASCAR content like this. Live commentary streams every NASCAR race weekend for Truck Xfinity Cup races as well as Cup practice and qualifying. So for this weekend's trivia, we're going to run back the NASCAR Xfinity Series all-time race wins list. We did this once on the season already, very early in the year. Last week we did the Cup Series all-time wins list and tried to run that back for the second time and see where we got. 179 drivers have ever won, and it does label not only the amount of wins they had, but the time in which they had raced in NASCAR. So obviously a bunch of active drivers, which will be present, retired drivers. I believe 1981 was the first year of the NASCAR Xfinity Series, the then named Busch Grand National Series. And we'll see what we can do. 20 minutes. Bam Hall, Regine Huddleston, thanks for tuning in. You guys are the first down below. We got Kurt and Kyle Busch. I want to start off with Kyle Busch because, of course, he is all-time up there. Mark Martin is number 2 all-time. Presence. Oh, that's interesting. Number 3, current driver. Hamlin? No. Well, I mean, Hamlin's on here, but I know Edwards is up on the list. Kenseth is up on the list. Sam Ard. Randy LaJoy has a lot of wins. Earnhardt. Does it count Earnhardt as active? It does. Okay. It does count Dale Jr. as active. 24. 2008. Was a rookie, still races today. Does Casey Kane count as active because he ran a race this year? I don't know. Greg Biffle's up there on the list. Ryan Newman. Murray. I'm just jumping all over the board at this point. Chad Little. Ted Musgrave. He's not on the list. Bobby Hamilton. David Reagan. Trevor Bayne. Ricky Stenhouse. Christopher Bell had quite a few. He's at 18 career Xfinity wins. That's a lot. William Byron. Chase Elliott. Ryan Vickers. Elliott Sadler. I'm trying to stay away from maybe active Xfinity drivers for right now. Cole Custer. Paul Menard. Jimmy Spencer, Casey Mears, Reed Sorensen, Sterling Marlin, okay, Allison, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, the Burtons, Ward and Jeff, Harvick, he's number 3 all time. So it counted Harvick as present. When was this list last updated? This is 2024. It's weird that Harvick was listed as present. No wonder I didn't get it yet. Alan Kulwicki ever win one? No. I didn't think so. He's pretty much just a Cup Series journeyman. Lake Speed on here at all? No. Dale Jarrett definitely is. Ricky Craven. John Andretti? He is not. Got Brandon Jones, Eric Jones, AJ Allmendinger, Michael McDowell, Justin Haley, Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez. Now I'm just throwing out a bunch of active Dave and Ryan Blaney, Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Sam Mayer, Justin Allgaier, Connor Zilic. Riley Herbst just went for a spin, by the way. Like he had some contact with the outside wall as well. No major damage. He is driven away, and they're still under green. Stremy. No, he's not on here. JJ Yaley ever? No. We've got a lot more active drivers. Myatt Snyder. Austin Hill. Jesse Love. Creed, no. Almirola. Dylan. Austin. Ty. Noah Gregson. Gilliland. Ty Gibbs. Tyler Reddick. Bubba Wallace. Terry Cook ever win one? Nope. Bodine is on here. Jeff, Brett, Todd. Montoya, I'm sure, is on here. Ambrose. 78 of 179. Tony Stewart, yep. Anybody who's ever won an Xfinity race. I don't think Jerry Nadeau's on here. No, he is not. Didn't think so. Derek Cope on here at all? Yes. Why, yes, he is. Josh Berry. Nemechek. Joe and John Hunter. Sammy Smith. Regan Smith. Michael Annette. Ryan Reed. Briscoe. Truex. Ryan and Mark Truex Jr. Jason Keller. Scott Wimmer. Scott Riggs. Jeremy Mayfield? No. Mike Skinner on here at all? Yes. Jack Sprague. He's on here. Casey Atwood. Jason Leffler. Stacy Compton. He's not on here. Robert Presley. Ricky Hendrick, yes. No, just Truck Series. Just Truck Series. I was thinking that too. Yarborough on here at all? He's not. Oh, Charlie Glotzback. I don't know how to spell that. He's got to be on here. I'm going to pause the timer real quick. I got to Google how to spell Charlie Glotzback. Let's see. Charlie Glotzback. I could have swore he's won. Glotz. No, he's not on here. All right, well. I was wrong on that. I busted through a lot of them. Jeremy Clements had a Daytona win. Justin Marks has a win. PK. I didn't get like Pappas. He's not on here. Ron Fellows is on here. What about Boris Said? Yes. 105 of 179. Yes, Screen. Jeff and David. Kevin Grubb ever win one? No. Mike Bliss. Austin Cindric, yes. I don't know how I did not name Cindric yet. I was jumping all over. I usually start with active drivers, and I did not. Yeah, there's quite a few active drivers that we still have to name. Riley Herbst. Johnny Sauter. Hoer's not on here. I do have Almirola already. Ryan Sieg hasn't won one yet. I do have Jarrett. Busher. Chris Busher, former champion. James Busher on here as well. Did I put McDowell? Oh, I didn't put Waltrip yet. Michael Waltrip. Michael and Daryl. David Rudiman. Quapple on here at all? No, Travis Quapple is not on the list. I already have him. I really feel like the Labontes I do not have. Justin, Terry, Bobby. Stephen Light. I don't know why it listed him as active. Maybe he runs part-time in the Xfinity Series still. I don't know. 2017 still active. I don't know. Ryan Preece. I tried Moffitt already. He wasn't on here. John Wood is not on the list. 8 minutes left. Got 121 of 179. And our list for this week, anybody who has ever won an Xfinity race, Harry Gant. Rick Mast on here at all? Yes, he is. Steve Park. Brennan Gaughan, yes, he's on the list. Purvis. Jeff Purvis. I don't think I would have gotten that one. Thank you for that. The Sadlers, I thought I put them. Yeah. I did put them already. Hornish. Sam Hornish. He almost won the championship one year. Oh, Penske. Jeff Villeneuve won an Xfinity race, didn't he? In the 22? Uh, he competed for wins. I gotta pause it, make sure I'm spelling his name right. Jacques Villeneuve. I swear he won at Road America one year. I could have swore he won at Road. I mean, he raced there, like Montreal. He raced a lot. Ville. No, he's not on here. All right. Well, I was wrong. Oh yeah, Ron Hornaday. Hornaday. No, he's got to be. I'm spelling it wrong. Hornaday. Jeez. I did not put Clint Boyer yet. I don't know how I didn't. We've got him now. I would not have gotten Joe Bessie, so thank you for that. Oh, Tim Fedewa is on here. I think he won that Talladega race where there was only like 9 cars left at the finish when everybody wrecked on like lap 12 or whatever it was. Uh, jeez. Really trying to think of my NASCAR EA games and who was all in there. They had a lot of Cup guys in there though. That's not really helping me. Did I don't think Bobby Gerhardt's on here, but I'll put him anyway. Oh, speaking of ARCA, gosh, what about oh, this is bothering me really bad right now. Kimmel. No, he's not on here. Kenny Irwin is on the list. Oh, no, he's not. Ernie Irvin is, though. I haven't named a lot of guys from the 90s yet. I tried Kevin Grubb. Ashton Lewis is not on the list. Morgan Shepherd is. There's still like 3 guys that I have not put on the list yet. Stacy. He is not on here. Neil Bonnet. Phil Parsons on here. Okay. Wally Dollenbach. I'll think Wally's on the list. Dick Trickle. Yes, he is. He's got 2 wins. There's still got to be either active drivers I haven't named. I do have Chad Little already. Oh, I did not put Kenny Schrader yet. There we go. I do have Boris Said. I think I've got everybody that the chat has named so far. Oh, SVG. Oh my gosh. Van Gisbergen. Knew I was missing some active drivers. That still might not be all of them. No, there's still another 2016 still active now, and he's won 1 race. 1 Xfinity win from 2016 to present. Spencer Gallagher, is he considered? Okay, so he's on here. Brendan Poole? No, because he got that one. I was thinking maybe he would have won a different one. Elton Sawyer? Yes. Got 2.5 minutes, 140 of 179. There's 2 drivers that are present still. Each only have 1 win. Friesen is not on here. There could be some truck guys, though. Hemrick. That's one of the actives. Daniel Hemrick. Oh, he hasn't won one. Yeah, I've got the Bush brothers. Ryan Reed, Jimmy. I appreciate the chat spamming a bunch of names. We need to do this together. There's still one more active driver that I'm missing. See, I don't know if it's Cup that I missed over or it's active Xfinity. I don't think it's trucks because Hemrick is the only truck guy that I could think of off the top of my head. Dennis Setzer is probably on here, yes. I tried Rhodes. Kaz Gralla. No, he has not won. Nick Sanchez. Oh, it doesn't have him yet. It wasn't updated from this season, but yeah, he is on the list. Hey, Gralla's not on here. You're thinking of the Truck Series. Hocevar hasn't won. Kligerman? No, because that was substitute role. I do have Casey Kane. Cindric Mears, yeah. Obviously, there's going to be some names that I missed over. I really want to know who the active driver is that I'm missing. Brandon Brown. Oh, they still listed him as active. Has he even ran a race in recent years? I thought it's been a couple years, but he did win at Talladega. That's right. Jeff Fuller, Bobby Dotter each have a win. Ed Barrier, Jamie Aubie, Rick Wilson. I've had him on some of these quizzes before. Ronnie Silver, Johnny Benson. Gosh darn it. He's got two of them. Dick McCabe. David Pearson. I didn't put Pearson on here. I thought I did because I could have swore I put Pearson. I wanted to put Larry Pearson. I didn't realize David Pearson was on the list also. Ricky Rudd. Oh, man, that's tough. Greg Sachs, Joe Ruttman. Forgot about Ricky Rudd. John Settlemeyer, Andy Santer, Brad Teague. Hank Parker Jr., that's right. Back in the Chance 2 Motorsport DEI days. Butch Miller, Kevin LePage, Bobby Hillen Jr., Ron Bouchard, Mike Alexander, LD Ottinger, Jimmy Hensley, Steve Grissom is one I definitely should have gotten. Chuck Bone, we've had on the list before. Mike McLaughlin, Rob Moroso, Butch Lindley, Tommy Ellis, Tommy Houston. Yeah, those are names that are synonymous with the Xfinity Series. Ellis, Houston, over 20 wins. I thought I put Larry Pearson already. I really did. When I was circling back through Allison and Yarborough and just seeing if some of those old guys, apparently I missed Pearson. Can't believe I missed Johnny Benson. That's probably the one that I really wish I had back. And I forgot about Brandon Brown. I guess he was the only active driver, active in quotations. 79% average score, 69%, 142 of 179. And we'll do another quiz in the pre-race of tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series race coverage. Taking a look at what's happened so far in practice today. Group 1 has just completed their practice session. AJ Allmendinger, fastest overall with a speed of 94.747 miles per hour and a lap time of his best of 86.63. Ty Gibbs in second, Daniel Suarez third, and Kyle Busch fourth, and Zane Smith rounds out the current top 5. Carson Hocevar sixth, Justin Haley seventh, Noah Gragson eighth, Jonathan Nemechek ninth, Ty Dillon 10th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 11th, Austin Dillon 12th, Alex Bowman 13th, Josh Berry 14th, Ryan Preece 15th, Riley Herbst 16th, He went for a spin earlier in the session. Cole Custer, 17. Josh Bilicki, 18th. Cody Ware, 19th of 19. So those are the drivers who have all completed a lap for Group 1. Again, Group 1 session has ended. Group 2 will be coming up shortly. AJ Allmendinger, former winner here. Ty Gibbs, he's had several really good runs on road courses this season. Could be an underdog threat for the win, especially playoff drivers trying to go for stage points. That could open an opportunity more so for an AJ or a Ty Gibbs to be on the race winning strategy at the end. That's really how AJ won here a couple of years ago. And obviously Shane Van Gisbergen, who will be in Group 2 of practice, going to be one to look out for of the non-playoff drivers. Lap average sheet, 5-lap average best was Ty Gibbs. 10-lap average best was also Gibbs. Only Gibbs and Bowman from this first group ran 10 consecutive laps or more. But Gibbs, good short run speed. AJ Allmendinger should be good for qualifying. We'll have to take a look to see how both of those drivers will compete when we do get to qualifying in a little bit. So we'll have group qualifying just like we have group practice, where all the drivers for Group 1 will go out and have any sort of time to try to put together their fastest lap. For qualifying, Group 2 will have a time session as well, and I believe 20 or 25 minutes will be on the clock for that, and that will be at the top of the hour, of course, when we conclude practice. So all the playoff drivers will be coming up, as well as several others for Group 2's practice session of 25 minutes. Shout outs to those of you that were helping along with the trivia at the beginning of the stream. Santiago Kids, Zach, Christopher McComas, Regine Huddleston, Robert Goodrich, Billy Kramer, Steve, Zach, Holly HD, or H. Holly D, excuse me, Robert Goodrich. Who else we have here? Wade, Bam Hall, many others. Appreciate you all tuning in. Halfway done through Cup Series practice. How many will get to play NASCAR? 25 next Friday. I will be there. I think Saturday is the early release, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, yes, we will have NASCAR 25 content beginning on the channel next week. Obviously, live commentary on the weekend as well, but we'll also be doing not only these live commentary streams next weekend, but NASCAR 25 to coincide. Zachary Powers, JoJo, welcome to the stream. Welcome in, race fans. We'll take our first break while full screen commercial break still airs on True TV. You're listening live to Cup Series practice at the Charlotte Roval. Nope, qualifying has not happened yet. First of two live commentary streams on the day. NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage will be later on tonight. Well, I should say this evening, 5 p.m. Eastern. A little bit of a later start there. 67 laps, 250-mile race. Same distance as the truck race yesterday afternoon. But again, Xfinity racing later today. 5 p.m. Eastern, 2.5 hours from now exactly. We'll start that stream. And NASCAR Cup Series coverage will begin at this time tomorrow afternoon, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Beginning with our pre-race and into the Bank of America Roval 400 soon after. 109 laps for tomorrow's race at the Charlotte Roval. This is an SVG weekend? I do believe so. I'm taking him to win tomorrow, that's for sure. Unless for some reason he doesn't qualify well today, but a lot of those playoff drivers are going to be taking points. It's going to automatically eliminate them. And SVG's just been so dominant on the road courses. I mean, there's a reason he's won the last 4 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Well, last 3 and then a street course race mixed in there, but all included. Got my Tigers jersey on today. Game 1, ALDS later tonight after the Xfinity race. Michigan Wolverines are playing right now, too. I was watching that game up until the start of the stream. Less about that, more on NASCAR. Here's some of the True TV coverage in the booth for the practice and qualifying session, as we've seen for the True TV, USA Network, NBC sports side of things late in the year. Marty Snyder, along with Jeff Burton and Steve Letarte. Interview with Kyle Busch from Kim Kuhn.
Because I feel like everybody's driving just as bad as mine is. I feel like we're on the wrong tire. Holy cow, this is very poor decision. But it is what it is. Same for everybody, so we got to deal with it. And we got to figure out what works best for our Banco ZK Chevrolet. And we tried a few things there. Nothing made a difference. So that just goes to show you that no matter what you try, you're just so lack of grip that you can't make any grip with how hard the tire is. And so I feel like we're just struggling with that. But we'll get ready for qualifying trim and see what she's got.
Sounds like drivers have a lot ahead of them in terms of grip level here at the Roval, Mamba.
Yeah, Cam, standing by with, we got AJ Allmendinger here. AJ, you were just talking to Justin Haley. He said he's wrecking out there. You looked at him with a big smile on your face. You're like, I'm wrecking everywhere. What is it like, even though you're on top of the board?
Yeah, it's, thank God we got 1 lap speed in the Celsius Chevy. I need to go look on it. Let's put it this, it's way different than we've ever been here. It is slick. It feels like an ice rink. It feels like after a half a lap, the tire's completely gone. So it's, compared to what we simmed, it's about 3 seconds off, like what we've been in the past here. So it's definitely different. We're definitely going to have to go do our homework. I'm going to have to figure it out. But yeah, I wasn't ready for it to be that slick. I was kind of shocked. I ran my first lap and I was like, wow, that is quite awful. You're terrible. And I looked up at the board and I was like, oh, P1, that's interesting. So, well, we're going to go do some studying here. It's if it's like this tomorrow, it's going to be crazy to watch. So everybody at home, you're going to have fun watching. I don't know if we'll have fun.
Steve, it sounds like these crew chiefs are going to have their hands full with this tire.
Oh, they're going to have hands full because there's 2 issues. Not only does it drive bad, but it falls off. Let's talk about this. On the left-hand side is the lap time. You see 86 to 94, and then lap 1 out to lap 13. So first, let's literally just talk right here. Normally, we see about an 84-second lap in practice. That's an 86.5, 2.5 seconds slower on their fastest lap. And then from lap 1 out to lap 12, we are looking at nearly 5 seconds of fall off. 5 seconds in 12 laps is going to be unbelievable and can't feel good from behind the wheel. Now, look, I think that goes away when you're kind of all out there on the same tires and the guy in front of you is slowing down like you are. Jeff has this big smile on his face because he can't wait to see these guys slip and slide all after them.
What we've been asking for.
Oh, they got it. They got it.
Oh boy, the first cutoff.
It's a little extreme.
Was wild from the tire side, but a fantastic race. Can we see the same thing tomorrow here at the Roval? Group B will answer some questions coming up next.
I don't know that I like this, honestly. I think it is a little bit too much. It's too much fall off. I mean, Bristol's one thing because you can make up like 40 to 50 laps pretty quickly, and I thought that tire fall off was still a little extreme, and maybe they could go a little bit on the better side of trying to find a tire that would fall off over the course of a full like 100 plus laps rather than after 40, 50, 60 laps you have to come into the pits. If we have something similar to that here with this being a road course, 40 to 50 laps at Bristol isn't a long time. I mean, are we talking like we're going to see drivers pitting after 10, 15 laps in tomorrow's race? Like, that does not sound very good. I mean, 5 seconds of fall off over 12 laps? Tell you what, NASCAR better be giving these teams a lot of sets of tires for tomorrow's race, that's for sure. That seems a little too extreme. 5 seconds of fall off over 12 laps. Like 2 seconds would have been a lot, but manageable. 5 seconds over 12 laps? No wonder Kyle Busch was complaining during the interview we had there. Everybody's going to have to deal with the same thing. I think, well, it definitely evens the playing field for, maybe an SVG not to be as good, but we know how well he manages tires on road courses, so he'd still have to have some sort of an advantage. And this being an elimination race, that really opens up an opportunity for maybe we do see an upset winner for somebody below that cut line, like an Austin Cindric who's good on road courses is minus 50 points below the cut line entering this weekend. Tyler Reddick, who's won on road courses several times. I wouldn't have expected him to win this weekend based off of SVG being in the field, but this could be an equalizer. Ross Chastain, same equipment as well. See, this is why we need to have more test sessions in NASCAR. And I'm not just talking like test sessions where you only bring one driver for each manufacturer to the track like we've had several times this year and over the years since they've eliminated testing completely. Like, I'm talking get all 40 drivers at the racetrack. Especially Charlotte, there's no reason. This is NASCAR's background. You can't tell me that we can't have like a 40 car or, all the chartered teams. We can't have 36 cars at the track for a test session on a Tuesday or a Thursday at random during the season at the Charlotte Roval to test a Goodyear tire. Like, that seems a little absurd on NASCAR's part. Goodyear's the one that makes the tires, yes, but the fact that we don't have enough testing from the NASCAR side of things with actual cars on track in abundance, so we don't have issues like this. TV's talked about how, wild and exciting it's going to be, and it's going to be wild, but I think this is a little bit too much.
It just drive bad, Jeff. I assume it's really three things. The first is under braking. They just don't have the braking capability because the tires don't want to slow down. When they're off both pedals, meaning they're off the brake and the gas, obviously the car doesn't have cornering the.
Our guest, welcome to the stream.
Hear him start to pick up the throttle. This infield has always been very, very.
Well, thank goodness Ryan Blaney won.
Especially so in old tires, I guess you just have to drive like the old one of the moniker, the egg underneath the gas pedal.
Yeah, you said it. I mean, this infield has always been very slick. That's why we talk about this racetrack being one of the most difficult. It's not this part of the racetrack. It's all of this. It's this back straightaway chicane, heavy braking zone, big curves, low grip, trying to go to the throttle and just spins the rear tires. Once it gets settled down, this part of the track's actually pretty easy. Car's loaded up, car makes good grip. It's okay. It gets difficult. You come off the bank. Whoa! I said it would be. He didn't make it look good. But come off the banking, and now you just have very low grip. And you can see Joey Logano is.
He's struggling. Yeah, that was not a good angle into the front stretch chicane.
NASCAR 3 and 4. But the braking is one of the things that we've heard about road course racing track with this car is that it's so hard to pass because everybody has brake brakes. Cars don't slide around much. Cars make a lot of grips. Hard for someone to make a mistake. Well, that doesn't sound like that's going to be the case this weekend. It sounds like the cars drive worse and the tire fall off. So to me, it's what we have been asking for, to try to take some grip from the tires on road courses and short tracks and have fall off. So let's see what happens. But so far, I feel like it's in the direction that drivers have been asking for.
And look, as a crew chief, there are instantly things I can do to help. I can put softer springs in the car, softer shocks, softer air pressure, things to allow tire life to stay. But the problem is this banking still exists. So the car still has to have enough spring rate in the car to not drag the racetrack when you're going 140 miles an hour in the banking. So, and that's the idea. To your point, I wonder if this isn't a bottom out situation right here. See the fire out the pipes. Like, did you get far enough around that it sits on one of those rear shock stops, the internal stops, and it just makes the back go around? Because right here, when you want to jump this curve like that, you want those shocks nice and soft to absorb. You want the tire to move throughout the whole vehicle.
Steve, I was going to ask you about the advantage of Group B today. You mentioned shocks and things you can change on the cars. That's stuff you can do on pit road getting ready for this session.
You can't change the springs, but you can adjust the shocks. You can adjust the stiffness of the roll bars. You can adjust the air pressure. There's a lot of adjustments that can be made right there.
Yeah.
You hear all that right there? That's the car bottoming out because it's just soft. So Roval is a magical mix of, it's kind of like sweet and salty, right? And what I mean by that is you have this infield section that's very, very, very slow, and you want a high grip. And then you go on the banks, and you got to have some control. Like the car has to be controlled to run 140 miles an hour.
Let's ride along. Look at the workload. Look at the uphill. Look how you can't see. You cannot see the corner that you're approaching. Got to get to the curb. Now watch out, Bubba. See his hands? How much he's moving them on corner exit? Look at that. It's turned as far as you can turn a car. Spinning the rear tires. I mean, what shocks me, I know we're only a handful of laps in, but look at all the playoff drivers who are all the way on the right side of the screen.
But that would be my goal. So you asked me about the second group. I would tell my driver that I need you to go a little easy.
Yeah.
Like, don't go out there and run as hard as you can and burn these tires off. Because I think tomorrow in the race, I'm going to want you to run 80% for the first 3 or 4 laps or the best you can in traffic to try to get some longevity.
I also think it's an advantage for the first group in speed. You're already bottoming out. Seems like the first group in practice is always faster, and the second group is faster in qualifying. You see, hit that curve, and just the wheel movement is nuts. I was talking with Charles tonight this morning, and he said, I honestly feel like the Roval is Bubba's best road course. No question about it. We could be a top 5 car here. But, Steve, I had to look at the stats twice this week. When I looked up Kyle Larson's numbers on the road courses this year, I mean, right there, that is crazy. 32nd or worse in 4 of the 5 road courses this year. The other one wasn't even in the top 15. I mean, what in the world has happened to Kyle Larson, who won this race last year at the road courses this year?
Well, some of it's not really his doing. Can't seem to finish one.
Yeah.
Pushed at Mexico City in the rain. He's kind of, minding his own business. Yeah. Look, if you're running first or second, you definitely have a lesser chance of getting caught up in those wrecks. But I think those numbers, while real, aren't indicative of the performance as far as raw speed and ability. It's just they haven't been able to get into the finish line.
2 wins here at the Roval, so I think they can get it figured out, Jeff.
Well, I don't think they really need to, would be what I would say, right? I mean, he's plus 54. Like, he needs to go out there and see the finish of stage 1 or stage 2, and that's probably going to get enough for the 5 car.
Yeah, they only need a handful of points to be able to advance to the next round. 3 points, to be exact. So they're in pretty good shape. And I like what Larson said after the race last week, Jeff. He said, a lot of what happened in Kansas was on me. I put myself in bad situations, but I really felt like, and it was nice to feel like we had winning speed again in the 5 car where we could run up front with those Toyotas. Yeah, I think the big concern with this car is where has all that speed gone? Since the early part of the year, they had a lot of speed. They have been looking for it since the middle of May, late May. It just hasn't been there. And as the playoffs go further and further, you're going to have speed. I don't think you're going to be able to, consistent your way. You're going to have to be able to run in the front. And for Larson and this group, they just had what they wanted, so that had to feel good for them. When it comes to road courses this year, nobody scored more points at the road courses than Christopher Bell, and here he is early in Group B, 9th quickest, 2nd fastest in this group, Steve. I don't think we should be surprised if Bell winds up being in contention tomorrow afternoon.
Absolutely. I think for sure if it's a tire conservation and you lose a lot of grip, that just strikes me in the Larson, the Bell category. These guys have so much car control, a little bit of that dirt racing. They just understand how to run a lot of part throttle, short shift, which means, you go up a gear before the car really needs it, keep the acceleration rate down to save those rear tires. I think all of that falls into the Christopher Bell wheelhouse. I would say Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson of the playoff guys right now on lap 4. I feel like they probably have the 2 best cars. But with the tire fall off that we saw in the first session, having a good car in 4 laps may not be good in 15. We'll have to see where it goes. But right now, those 2 cars are really good. SVG, shocking. He's good. Bell running a special paint scheme this weekend, DeWalt partnership with St. Jude's Children's Hospital. He's going to be auctioning his helmet off after the race if you want to get involved in that. Ken, you have more?
Yeah, as we look at Christopher Bell, Jeff said Bell and Byron look maybe the best of the playoff cars out here. They're also some of the best of the playoff cars in terms of how they come into this race points wise. Christopher plus 44. And I had a fun conversation with Adam Stevens this morning where he said, look, I would never use the word safe when you come to the Roval points wise because you just never know. But there is a high level of comfort this team has. Their points position puts them in a place where they can try and go for the win if they have the cars. So expect maybe some more aggressive strategy from them tomorrow.
I would say they'll play it. All going to be chasing Steve is Shane Van Gisbergen, however. I mean, obviously going for his 5th straight road course win, and SVG just been so good on these road courses this year. Almost effortless, he makes it look.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is what he's done so much of his life. Back to Kim's point, I think if you're Bell at 44-5, if you can score 6 or 7 stage points in the first stage, you can take the pressure off the rest of the race. Yeah, your advancement might move. I think about the 20 car. And the SVG, I mean, look, he this is what he does. It's what he's done growing up. It's what he's driven his entire life. Is this style of car on this style of track, and he does make it look relatively effortless. I'm interested to see how his tire conservation is. I imagine it's be very, very patient. He's always been very patient behind the wheel of one of these things, Mamba.
Yeah, that's right. What happened with the 88 of Shane and Pittsburgh, and it's really important when you look at the one of Ross Chastain. I talked to Ross before practice, and he said his setup is very similar to the 88. He said that he tries in the simulator to mimic everything that Shane is doing and just trying to learn to be a sponge. And I'm like, well, why is that? Because can you really do that? Your driving style is different. He's like, yeah, but he's the best. So if I want to be like the best, then I need to learn from the best. And that's what Ross is trying to do. And right now, guys, he's 16, SVG 17. So it looks like it's working out for Trinos.
Chastain's 5th lap, 28.40. That's right there. SVG at 28 flat, so 4/10 the second off.
Jace.
On the car that has a lot of speed right now, it's William Byron. I would say on the 6th lap, he's right there. Just a little bit off of SVG, but really good pace. Problem best right now is Larson on his 6th lap, but William did something a little bit different. He didn't lay a lap time down. Like he ran his best lap with a 27.94. He ran that about 4 laps ago also, almost duplicated that lap. So I wonder, Steve, if he didn't roll off and not try to abuse the tires. He listened to you, Steve.
Well, but here's the only problem. That works on a green flag pit stop, but it doesn't work on a restart because you're going to, you have to protect your position. So it's going to, look, that's the approach I would take. I would be like, hey, you know how hard you have to run when we're in a pack. So we're not going to worry about that right now. I like the idea of going out. I'm going to start really low on the tire pressure. I'm going to have a car that's really soft, and I need you to go out there. We're just going to accept that there's going to be a lot of positions to get in the long run.
The one thing I'll say, Steve, is that you can protect your tires in areas where there are no passing zones.
There you go. Yeah.
Right? So if you think about road course racing, if you can keep the guy behind you, see Chase Elliott looks like he's serving a penalty for missing the front interludes. Let's go check out, see what happened. And they're just a little too high. The rear tires, front tires slide. He's missed the exit of the carousel, so this is what you do. You come to a complete stop, off you go. Yeah. But if you're trying to save tires with road course, just keep the guys behind you and just make sure that when you get to passing zones, that's where you run hard, where they can't get by you. That is how you can save tires here. How about the win last week for Chase Elliott at Kansas? I was talking, Steve, to Alan Gustafson in the garage area. He said kind of the way it came, how unexpected it came, kind of made it a little more fun. Kind of had some pep in the step in the shop this week because we didn't think when we restarted right here, we were going to win the race.
So right away, he makes a move to the outside of the 24, which is very valuable. And that just really does a nice job of keeping momentum. Right here, he doesn't get blocked out behind the 19 or the 20. He gets by the 20. He even uses that momentum to get to the left of the 19 right here. So that's kind of a 2-for-1. And then just does a nice job. He rolls in, there's only chance at the bottom. He has those 4 tires. He gasses it up. The 11 can't get down the block. So I don't want to take anything away from Chase. I don't think he had any moves that were like 3-wide magic, but he never broke momentum for 3 miles. Very, very impressive behind the wheel.
Yeah, and that's a good reminder. We talked about the Denny Hamlin 11 car, how, he made a mistake because he didn't win. his teammate, I'm sorry, the driver he drives for him didn't win. But you forget how close he came to winning. I mean, he had no way of knowing Chase Elliott was coming with that much pace. So Chase kind of came out of nowhere. Kim.
Yeah, Marty mentioned a little pep in their step that they had this weekend after that win last week. Well, last night they had a big team dinner over at the lake to celebrate the win. And when I talked to Alan Gustafson this morning, he said, look, we have so much freedom this weekend, and as we look at the week and how we kind of planned out our week, the win at Kansas completely shifted our focus for Roval Week. They had gone into this weekend, if they had gone into this weekend not locked in, only about 10% of their focus this past week would have been prepping for Vegas. So there was a huge shift. They kind of flipped. They pulled back on their Roval stuff and very much went all in on prepping for Vegas, knowing how important that race is because they can lock you into the championship.
Having these big teams, have a finite amount of time and personnel. So where you point that effort makes a big difference.
We're talking about his teammate.
10 minutes to go in the practice session right now. We'll go through the full leaderboard to see where everybody ranks. Now, it is worth mentioning that everybody in Group 2 understands the amount of tire fall off that we have seen today, which was not originally expected coming into the practice session. As alluded to by AJ Allmendinger and Kyle Busch, for instance, interviews you heard post Group 1 practice before the Group 2 cars hit the racetrack. Obviously, they're able to look at the SMT data and whatnot, so they're trying to manage tires for the full course of a full run in this 25-minute session because that's what they're going to have to do in tomorrow's race. We tend to see a lot of long green flag runs when it comes to road course racing in the NASCAR Cup Series. Maybe that won't be the case tomorrow with the tire fall off that we've seen so far, but needless to say, we'll have to wait for tomorrow to actually find out if that will be the case or not. But I don't think that anybody has pulled the pit road yet from this second group. So we'll look at those longer lap averages for the drivers in Group 2 once we get through the full leaderboard here, where AJ Allmendinger in Group 1 was able to put together the fastest lap time, 86.630. Was that lap 94.747 mile per hour average lap speed. He ran 12 laps in that session. Worth noting as well for AJ, that lap was 4 seconds off of SVG's pole lap at the Roval last year. So 4 seconds off the pace. What the tire that Goodyear has brought to the track this weekend compared to what we've seen last year with the same configuration with that hairpin in turn 7. Coming into this year, all the same configurations on the racetrack. Ty Gibbs second overall, Daniel Suarez in third, Kyle Busch fourth, Zane Smith fifth, and Carson Hocevar sixth. Kyle Larson, who is seventh, is actually the fastest for Group 2. Christopher Bell, second fastest in this group, is ninth. In front of him, Justin Haley, just ahead of him. Noah Gragson rounds out the top 10. Then you got Jonathan Nemechek at 11th, Ty Dillon 12th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 13th, Austin Dillon 14th, Alex Bowman 15th, Ross Chastain 16th, SVG 17th, Chris Buescher 18th, Josh Berry 19th, William Byron 20th. Again, you're going to see a lot of playoff drivers further down the list, but that's because they're starting with a slower pace, knowing the tire fall off. Ryan Preece 21st, Riley Herbst 22nd, Chase Elliott 23rd, Ryan Blaney 24th, Tyler Reddick 25th, Michael McDowell 26th, Bubba Walls 27th, Joey Logano 28th, Cole Custer 29th, Denny Hamlin 30th, Todd Gillen 31st, Chase Briscoe 32nd, Austin Cindric 33rd, Eric Jones 34th, Brad Keselowski 35th, Josh Bilicki 36th, Cody Ware 37th. I don't really think you can look at the practice charts and have a good gauge of who's going to be quick tomorrow in the race over the course of the long run. We can maybe get an idea of the playoff drivers compared to other playoff drivers, or at least the drivers in Group 2 in comparison to others. Because it looks like they're all making, for the most part, 10-plus consecutive lap run. Larson did not. He pulled into the pits after his 9th lap, and that's because he got up against the wall out of the exit of Turn 1. Scrubbed just a little bit of that right front fender up against the fence. Nothing too major, but brought it into the pits immediately after. Chris Buescher missing the bus stop on the back straightaway last time by. Practicing his stop and go. Chase Elliott missed the front stretch chicane a handful of laps prior as well. which we're probably going to be seeing a lot of that tomorrow, knowing the lack of tire grip in the overall race car itself. SVG does have the fastest 10-lap average in this practice session, 88.43 over the 10-lap average. That is over a tenth faster than Ty Gibbs from the first group. And in the second group, Chris Buescher would be second to that, over 2/10 off. So SVG over 2/10 faster on the long run than everybody else in the field. We've seen him manage his tires well at Mexico City with a lack of grip. Watkins Glen had a different tire, not the same tire we see this weekend at the Roval, but softer tire with more fall off there than what we'd usually see with the road course. And this is going to be a much more drastic amount of fall off than any other road course we've seen in the next gen era. But he is still looking like the best. No surprise then, SVG, no matter the tire, still going to be the favorite for tomorrow's race. And probably going to be a favorite for the pole coming up here in about 10 minutes or so when we get into qualifying. 5 minutes remaining, just less than that actually, for Group 2 practice. And I'll let you listen into the rest of the coverage there before qualifying.
Stay on track, run all the laps, force someone to have a miraculous day.
Well, keep in mind, we talked a lot about last week. 24 cars finished in the lead lap. So Denny Hamlin, with a chance to win the race, throughout the, hey, we're in good shape here, going to the Roval, we can finish second, we'd be in great point shape. That win meant that much to him. He was willing to throw that out the window and to try to get that win. We saw Jimmy Johnson do the same thing here. He could have advanced into the playoffs, and instead he went aggressively for the win. Shows you how valuable they are.
Austin Cindric there with a pass on Denny Hamlin. I talked to Brian Wilson, Steve, his crew chief. He said, man, we are going completely out of the box with a setup this weekend. He said, if we run more than 5 laps in practice, it's at least decent. So they run 10 straight here, so not too bad. And he said, really, we're just trying to complain or play to the complaints, as Todd Gilliland almost loses it going into the corner there. Trying to play to the complaints that Austin has at these road courses. He just needs more rear grip. That's what we've done with the setup. We'll see how it goes, but it's definitely different than anything we've ever run before.
Well, I think from every driver we've heard from, this is different than anything they've seen before. So maybe a different setup's going to match up correctly with it.
Sure.
I will give the field a bit of a warning that I wondered how good the 88 was tire conservation, and so far my answer is going to be really, really, really good at it.
Yes, he's exceptional at it. Saving the rear tires is his game.
Yeah, he's
and I would argue this plays into his favor even more with a tire that falls off this much steam.
Yeah. Falls in a funny way with a bunch of yellows, because from just outright speed, it's shocking how much faster he is in the field at the moment.
So we are 12 to 13 laps into runs for teams in Group B. What are you seeing? Seeing the same thing with tires in this group, Steve, or
Everybody but the 88.
okay?
So I'm not going to kid. So who do you want to know? The 54 and 4 seconds of fall off. The 20 cars, 4.5 seconds of fall off. SVG is currently running 2 seconds a lap faster on the same tires.
Wow.
Christopher Bell. Sorry.
Absolutely good done on.
That'd be Chase Elliott. Tires absolutely cooked, gone, Jeff.
And that's how many laps, Jeff? I'm trying to find about
I can't find
13, 13 for Chase Elliott.
23rd on the speed chart.
There you go.
Now, what I will say is, I've seen the fastest car lose a lot of races. So the goal is always to be the fastest, but you still have to run the race. You still have to play the game. And I believe that's what, I love about this garage more than anybody. They're all going to go home tonight, Jeff. They're going to say, well, this is what we can do, and this is what we can do, and this is what we have to do. They're going to continue to crew chief, continue to pit the car, try to avoid penalties, and there's a lot that still be determined.
So, Jeff, what do you tell your crew chief tonight then? When
I'm not
go
answering
home?
my phone.
Why not? What do you tell them? You go, hey, we've got to figure out how to build longevity in this car. Or are you working on getting speed out of it for this qualifying
So
session?
it's easier said than done. Like, it's easier to say, hey, I want my car to be good in a long run versus a short run. Well, how to do that? I mean, it's not as easy, right, as people would think. So certainly knowing now where the tire fall off is, where am I the slowest? What's giving me the most trouble? Let's work on that. This is a good example. Watch this 88 car. All right, here's an example of a change for everybody. Look how low he is. He is below, he's on the apron. He is on the apron of the racetrack trying to get his rear tires to hook up. Everybody I've seen leave
Washes
that
wide.
corner is as low as I've ever seen them.
Yeah.
That is an adjustment to the rear tires, trying to make grip. Watch this. Here you see Cindric, he's going to make a pass on Hamlin, but even with making the pass in the shallow entry, watch the two of Cindric. He intentionally overslows his car to leave on the very bottom. They're doing that because that's where the most rear grip is. And they're trying to get the car to accelerate.
Kind of like Richmond.
Yep, I was going to say it's the Austin Dillon Richmond line.
Down the front stretch.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it off of the rear carousel as well. Drivers running really low.
Well, I said that the 88 had a huge advantage. I will tell you, the one car I believe that is close. Now, he's still probably a second off the 88, but he is the best of the rest. He's the 88 of William Byron. I'm not sure he loved this car. Hey, Tim, I hear he doesn't love his car. I think he might have a different opinion when he looks at the lap times.
Yeah, I'll answer that question for you, and I'll answer Jeff's question too, because he wondered at the beginning of this session if maybe he was tiptoeing around the track to save tires. From the get-go, William has said, I do not feel great. In fact, he finished the session saying, I feel terrible. So whatever he's feeling in the car, he does not like. And something else interesting, you guys have kind of talked about some of the points buffers teams have and how they just have to have, a mediocre day to transfer. Well, I had a conversation with Rudy Fugle, and he said, look, a pedestrian day tomorrow would definitely get us the transfer, but he said if you attempt to race like that, you will get swept up in somebody else's mess. So do not expect them to lay back tomorrow despite being plus 40 to the cut line.
Man, I like that attitude, Jeff, right? Don't just sit back, right? You can't be super aggressive, but just try to win the race like you do every week, right? Be aggressive. But I will say, I find that William doesn't love his car. It's a little bit, I remind everybody at Richmond, I've never had a driver love a car in Richmond. Some are just faster than others. But when I look at the fall off and look at where he's at, man, he's close.
He's in the game.
He is totally in the game. He is, I believe, the second best car here, even though he may hate it, which is fine. It's not a ride contest. Like, it's how fast can you go?
Jeff, I'm sorry, it's not about making you happy today.
Hey, look, you know what I'm happy at? When the race is over and I'm in victory lane, I don't care how.
That's right.
It doesn't matter.
Got there, just help me to get there. So, hey, the round of 12 wraps up here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway at the Roval, but it started at New Hampshire. What a terrific race that was. At the end of the day, it was Ryan Blaney in victory lane holding the lobster. Kansas last week, what a finish. Chase Elliott winds up in victory lane. He's on to the round of 8. Who will it be at the Roval? Will it be a playoff driver or a non-playoff driver? Gets cut to 8 this weekend.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs had the best 5-lap average in the practice session. SVG, best 10-lap average. William Byron, best 15-lap average. SVG did not make a run of 15-plus consecutive laps. In fact, only 5 drivers did make 15 consecutive laps or more in a run. Byron was just the quickest of them. The only other drivers that did were Chastain, Keselowski, Reddick, and Wallace. Pretty much everybody in Group 2 ran at least 10 consecutive laps, and SVG much quicker than everybody else. But I would agree with Steve Letarte that it does look like Byron was hooked up for the longer run and is probably the second best, and when he says he's in the game, it's because he is second. You put yourself in prime position. Late race restart, second place situation, you're very much in the race, but overall pacing-wise, I don't think anybody's going to touch SVG on the long runs in the race itself tomorrow. We'll just have to see how the strategy pans out. I think we'll get more cautions than what we usually see at the Roval, considering how much tire fall off we have had, not only with tires just completely falling apart, but lack of grip around other race cars in close proximity could lead to more accidents as well. So AJ Allmendinger, fastest in practice, and we will get into qualifying shortly. Group qualifying, time session, and they'll be split up in the same groups that they were in for Group 1 and Group 2 of practice. So first group for qualifying will include Josh Bilicki, Cody Ware, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., AJ Allmendinger, Jonathan Nemechek, Zane Smith, Josh Berry, Carson Hocevar, Noah Gregson, Riley Herbst, Cole Custer, Ryan Preece, Ty Gibbs, Alex Bowman, Austin Dillon, Justin Haley, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Busch, and Ty Dillon. Those are the 19 drivers for Group 1 of qualifying. Time session, and then Group 2 will go out, and only one round. And with the amount of tire fall off we've been seeing here, I would imagine you really only have one good lap in you to try to go for the pole. You can maybe better your position on a second lap if you have a spin or a major mistake, but to go for the pole, I think you're going to need to get it done on that first lap. So pick a clean time for the racetrack to go out, that 20 to 25-minute session, and see what you can do. We'll take a quick break going into qualifying now for the Bank of America Roval 400. You're listening live on KRC. Once again, a reminder, NASCAR Xfinity Series racing will be live right here on the channel at 5 p.m. Eastern later today, and the NASCAR Cup Series race will begin at 2:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow right here on our channel with live commentary coverage just like this. We have this every NASCAR race weekend for Truck, Xfinity, and Cup races, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. So be sure to hit that subscribe button as we're on the road to 7K. NASCAR 25 coming up on the channel beginning next weekend as well. A lot of content during the week as well on the weekend itself. And obviously NASCAR 25 going to carry over into the off season as well to continue NASCAR content all the way up until February when NASCAR returns in 2026. Our like goal for the stream as well is 50. We're at 37 right now, I do believe. Let me refresh the page just to make sure. Yeah, we're at 37 likes, so we're still 13 away from our goal of 50. Sure to hit that like button, ladies and gents.
Did 2 Daytona 500s, and I don't know what it was, 9 or 10 Cup Series wins. And I started adding up, I'm like, well, that's one.
Raymond Joss, welcome to the stream.
It was humiliating, though, and I was like, well, no, it didn't add any of those stats. But it was great to see everybody down.
It was fun. It was fun for all those young drivers to spend. There was a lot of young drivers there to spend time with Ward.
Oh,
But
boy.
they really did. They spent a fair amount of time with me, but spending time with Ward, that was an eye-opener experience for those young men.
Oh, that's funny.
Hey, on behalf of all of us, congrats, Dad.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Pretty cool moment. Hey, Mamba, what's going on the pit road?
Yeah, I'm down with the guy who's pacing the field right now. It seems like SVG. Shane, your car seems like it's doing what you need to do, but how slick is it actually out there?
I don't know where you get that from. We're 17th, but we're pretty average. Need to get the WeatherTech Chevy a little better, but I just couldn't get going at the start. I was okay at the end, but just no speed, which was frustrating. So hopefully we're a little better in qualifying.
Kimmy's looking for a little bit of speed here for qualifying.
Yeah, Mom, a lot of questions on tires and what teams we're seeing. Well, let's take a look at Christopher's left rear. This just came off the car. This is not what you want to see. You see this cording here along the perimeter. We're going to move that tire over there to get it out of the way. But you can see almost the entire circumference of that tire. Again, the left rear. So, Steve, I know guys are looking for grip. I had talked to crew chiefs this morning who said, look, we might have to go very low on our pressures, especially for that infield portion to find the grip the driver needs. Is that a product of this, or is there a bigger concern here?
Well, without a doubt. So really, 3 big things affect tire wear. You can the toe, how much it's pointed left to right, the air pressure, which you can imagine inflated like a balloon, or how much it's tipped in. That's the inside of the left rear that's worn out. So definitely it is tipped, maybe a little bit more than you want, and also maybe a little too little air pressure. If you put a little air pressure in, it kind of moves the wear towards the center. The question is, can you make it better? Because this is what it looks like. So I showed you earlier the 54s fall off, right? So the red line here is SVG in the 88. The 24 is William Byron. Like I said, I think William Byron is the second best car here on the long run. A lot of cars are pretty close right here. That's what SVG was saying. Hey, I want more fire off speed. I want to get going. Now, what I will tell SVG is out here, after about 8 or 9 laps, that is Grand Canyon of a margin. It's 1 second a lap, which is just gigantic.
That's crazy.
It goes back to that tire wear. If he has that much speed built in, he could go a little easier. He could save his tires longer. He could run. Just a lot of things open up. You don't have to push. And that's really the big thing, Jeff, I think, is if you have that speed, you force others on those slippery tires to make more mistakes.
Yeah, and look, we've seen it with SVG. He is good at the end of long runs. He ends up driving away. That's where he makes up his ground. And to your point, Marty, you made earlier, this becomes even a bigger advantage for him with this much tire wear. But Steve said it earlier, the fastest car for the most part, I would venture to say the fastest car rarely wins anymore. I mean, it's such a competitive series, pit road. And with this much power, you're going to have a lot of pit stops, a lot of opportunities for cautions. So you just don't know what's going to happen.
Christopher L getting some tips from Eric Almirola there, who's been hanging out with the Gibbs guys lately. Back with qualifying here from the Roval in a moment.
All right, qualifying coming up shortly here on KRC for our full coverage of practice and qualifying at the Charlotte Roval. Timed session for Group 1 and Group 2. A little bit of a cool down period between practice and qualifying still ongoing, which is why we haven't gotten into that yet. I believe we'll end up taking another quick break here while we await the coverage to come back on True TV again. Qualifying set to begin. AJ Allmendinger, fastest in practice here today at the Roval. Yeah, hopefully no flips this weekend. Yeah, tires, and tires. Going to be the talk of town this weekend, very similar to the elimination race in the first round of the playoffs at Bristol. Very similar for this weekend at the Charlotte Roval. We just haven't seen that on a road course yet. Until this weekend. And knowing that it's another elimination race, it's going to make for a very, very interesting time for a lot of those playoff drivers. As we take a look at the playoff standings coming into the weekend, 2 drivers locked in on wins. Chase Elliott last week at Kansas, and Ryan Blaney getting a win at New Hampshire in the first race of the round. Plus 54 points for Kyle Larson, plus 48 for Hamlin. Bell plus 44, and William Byron plus 40. Those guys are relatively safe. If we did see a new winner below the cut line, things could get interesting between them, but if there is no new winner below the cut line, it's going to be very difficult for them to fall out on points. Chase Briscoe, though, plus 21. Joey Logano, plus 13. If we were to, again, see a different winner, then Briscoe would only be 8 points ahead of Joey. Both of those drivers were struggling mightily in practice as they were outside the top 30. Ross Chastain, 13 points below the cut line. First driver out. Bubba Wallace, minus 26. Tyler Reddick, minus 29. And Austin Cindric, practically in a must-win situation at minus 48 points to his Penske teammate. Looks like qualifying is just now beginning. Just over a minute in. These cars are on the racetrack.
So many.
Johnson and Truex. Johnson spins. He comes around. Was that the payback for Bristol?
Yes, there it is.
Hurry, Detroit. Turn erupting out there. Unbelievable.
He will get redemption on the Roval.
Any position's going to help. Coming. We got to beat this 96. Can we make it? Yeah, we're tied.
Every year, there is something that happens in the race that makes it memorable. The Roval always delivers. Xfinity Series racing coming up later today on the CW. Tomorrow on USA, it'll be the Cup Series race. That's tomorrow afternoon. Well, Las Vegas next week. You thought Kansas was good. Wait till next week at Las Vegas. Great track, very similar. Xfinity Series, Cup Series coming up from there as well. And the race will be Sunday on USA as well. Have the alternate start-finish line in play today as the first group hits the track right now. There's the alt start-finish line. Jeff, I think it's a very good move by NASCAR to bring the all-start finish line into play.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
When they did it, we're like, why did we do that 30 years ago? Like, it makes so much sense to be able to run a lap and then just pull in and not have to go all the way around the racetrack to get back to pit road.
Yeah, and mess up other people's laps is really the most important part of that, right? So AJ Allmendinger fastest overall in practice, like every driver out there, Steve said, I hated my race car. We'll see what he can do here in qualifying.
Well, so while it is kind of an open session for all of this time, from what they're saying about this tire, I can't imagine you want to do this more than once. I would imagine all the good is right away.
And would you even want to run a second lap? Because normally the second lap that's a win, Steve.
That's what I was going to say. It's weird. This is the same tire that at other highway racetracks like Sonoma, they ran faster the second lap.
Yes, they did.
So I don't, I really don't know. I'm interested to see what the teams feel.
I think you have to give yourself the bandwidth to make that second run, right? So you got to go early here in the session, especially if you're AJ Allmendinger, you got a bunch of clean racetrack in front of you.
And one thing you did see in that corner, that shot, that corner, is that all the tire marbles are built up on the outside of the grooves. So if you do make a mistake today, even in qualifying, it's going to cost you more than it normally would. Look at that.
Wow.
Like you had no room for error.
Jeff saying there's no room for
I love it.
And you saw that's awesome.
Well, both can be true. Like, right? That's incredible. Look at that curve. You see Allmendinger just car like it was 2 feet in the air when he hit those blue turtles. Here he comes to the start finish line.
See what kind of lap the Dinger puts up.
The other thing I'll say about this lap is that the last time he was in that car, he was running what, 134, 135s. He had to go pick up 9 seconds.
Wow.
I mean, that is a massive challenge for drivers to go find that much speed.
So that answers our question, Steve, as we watch Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on the track. And that was one and done, no question, for the 16.
Yeah, I think that would have to be, unless you feel behind the wheel that you have missed a corner or made a big mistake. I just think one and done has got to be what you're thinking.
Also, you see the difference in lines between where they were running on old tires, trying to find rear grip. Now they have new tires on. They leave that in-course second field section and they're immediately up onto the banking. No longer are they running all the way down on the apron.
John Hunter Nemechek got on the track, Steve.
Second lap for him, and his first one was about 3.5 seconds off, so I'm assuming he had a moment somewhere.
So now let's bring this whole element of how you approach this session into play.
Well, hope's not a very good strategy. I've tried that.
Hope is never a
better
management process.
We better have a better plan.
Yeah, but I mean, do you wait now? If you're saying, hey, it's going to be one lap and that's it, would you wait till later in the session when in theory the track's a little bit better?
I would. I don't think there's a reason to go out right away. I would probably run, halfway through the session.
I mean, look, John Hunter's almost 3 seconds off the pace.
The real problem for waiting is if somebody goes out there and has a mechanical issue, oil's track down, something like that, you just miss, any opportunity to run a clean lap. There doesn't seem to be a big hurry to get out there and run.
It seems to me, though, if you mess up your first lap, you're better off just quit.
I agree.
Just quit. That's the advantage of going early. If you mess up your lap, you can quit. You can come down pit road, let your tires cool off, get their pressure set back, and then go back and run again.
And even if you leave pit road, Jeff, and you kind of meander through the infield and don't take any more life out of your tire, you have all NASCAR 1 and 2, the backstretch chicane to get the green. You have more than enough time to get up to speed. That's right.
The numbers will show a 35th place finish at Kansas for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. But Jeff, I think everyone knew that they had a top 15 car for much of that race at Kansas, just didn't get the result that they wanted. Had some speed, certainly no doubt about it. Kyle Busch out on the track had the best overall average in Group A. But he, like all the drivers, not very happy with how the car felt. And you can see that fall off already here for Kyle Busch.
Look at that. See, he's on the apron of the racetrack. That's just the shortest way to get to the alternate start finish line. He's not going to be happy with that lap.
I'm starting to see some front tire hop. And when you take enough rear spring out of it, like right there, you see how the left front's completely off the ground?
Yeah.
When you take enough rear spring out of it, don't have enough rear sway bar, think about a table leg and you cut an inch off. When I push that leg on the ground, the front leg comes up, and that's really what happens is the car starts to porpoise and move, and that's the toughest when you have to qualify your race setup. Is if you were going to qualify, even with the entire wear, you would step in the suspension, you would make it more like a sports car, and you want to race more like a Tahoe. You want to have that thing kind of flopping all around, nice and soft. And in this situation, you have to run the same setup in both situations.
So is that what you were talking about? Making the rear spring softer?
Yeah.
So you could get a little more grip in the tires?
Yeah, so when you go to the gas, you want it to kind of have some transition, get some weight back there, but when you're hustling, the car's just not very responsible.
Tell you what, Alex Bowman, it seemed like nobody was going to come close to AJ Allmendinger, but he's not too far off, going to make a second lap here for Bowman.
I think the end of this year is really important for Alex Bowman. Austin Dillon, he comes into the front stretch chicane trying to find a lot of speed, and it's just not going to stop. Just not enough braking force. So that lap is gone.
That hurts you bad.
For Alex Bowman. They really rallied the middle part of the year. They ran really well. And then just in the first round of the playoffs, just one thing after another. That's demoralizing, right? And they got to find a way to get going again. Leave this year with some positive energy. And they did a lot of good things this year. It just did not end well for them. Use these last 4 races to really get headed in the right direction.
I can tell that second lap just no good for anybody. Seconds off there for Alex Bowman.
Yeah, but let's see what he ran. Just almost the same speed, first and second lap.
Yeah,
Cole Custer looked like he was in the game for a little bit there, Steve.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's just almost a second off from the 16 in general. 41's kind of in striking distance. I mean, 0.3 of a second is as close as we've seen anybody heading into the backstretch game.
Qualified well in Mexico City, finished 8th in that race.
Diego Bunchback getting in. Will it come back on exit? No, sir. Not enough. And when I think about road course drivers like AJ Allmendinger, I always think about switchback corners, like the chicanes. I just think they're very good at kind of get like the quick twitches, right? To get their cars going the 2 different directions as fast as possible.
Josh Berry decently off the pace. This might be part of the reason of why.
Oh,
look at that.
He's in the clag.
The clag.
He's in the clag.
Here we go. We're naming them turtles. We're naming
No, that's the
marbles.
flag.
Flag. I love it. I love it, Steve.
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm surprised he ran as fast as he ran. I mean, he was all the way through that section of the racetrack. He got in it, he just couldn't get out of it.
David Hobbs would be proud of that reference.
Yes, he would. We're going to have to text him right now.
Does he text?
Yeah, a little bit. Not much. Not much.
We'll have everybody Dippy call him.
That's
Let
what
him know.
Diffie to give him a call. Yeah, exactly. Cody Ware out on the track right now, along with Josh Balicki, Noah Gregson, Riley Herbst, and Ty Gibbs coming up to speed. So there's a car that's got some pace, Steve. Ty Gibbs that we're mentioning, who waited to go out later in the session. We'll see if more teams use that in Group B.
And I like the idea. So there's still 9 minutes left, right? So if you have an issue, Jeff, to your point, if he has to come back in, pull everything off, he has time.
Whoa, wow. Cody Ware went all the way back.
Oh, boy.
He was trying to run the apron, and they just didn't wasn't going to stay there. He was going to spin out, so he just had to quit turning it.
So I like what Ty's doing right here. So he's purposely not rolling any harder. Like, see him? Listen, he's saving as much tire as possible. So he thinks tires are as good as they can be right away.
Just feels like one giant experiment to me, Steve.
Why?
He's trying a whole bunch of different things.
We talked a lot about teammates. Remember, he has playoff teammates in the next round. Maybe this is something they talk about. Ty's like, well, I'm going to give it a try. See if it works. And if it works for him, then they'll know what to do for the next cars. They work so well together.
Yeah, why not? Maybe this is the olive branch, Steve. We're going to start working together. It's going to be great.
Feel the car bottoming out.
Yeah. What a great shot for the monster onboard camera for Ty Gibbs as he comes to take the green, Jeff.
Not a good road racer. See what he can do. Into turn 1, down the hill. Now he's headed uphill. Blind corner. That's where we saw Barry get out in the marbles.
That's what we call it here.
And then a hard right-hander.
Shot in.
I like that.
Watch this right here. Listen to the throttle. Just couldn't quite go to the gas, but still a good lap going.
Yeah.
This still fascinates me. There is no idea where the corner is. Like, where is it? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Right under braking is where you see it. Stay to the right as long as you can. Almost hit that tire pack. Use all the racetrack here. Back to the throttle.
Short in the lap. He's been in the green. Let's see if he can hold it all the way to the all-star finish line.
He went to the bottom of the racetrack in the banking just because it's the shortest way around. This is a heavy, heavy braking zone. Left curve, right curve, throttle. Now watch what he does. Look how low he is, all the way on the apron.
Good lap.
All right, good bit. Ty Gibbs to the top. That was fun. Thanks for taking us on the lap, Jeff.
He did all the work. I just thought,
You were the guy. You were the tour guide, though.
look at the tires. Steve talked about the soft rear springs. Trying to get the rear tires to hook up. That's a problem with it too, right? As the car leans over, gets off of the fronts.
So if you're Tyler Allen, you've seen that lockup. I mean, obviously, you're top of the charts right now as Kyle Busch makes another go of it. Steve, do you say, we're done because I'm not going to go make another run unless I have to, obviously. But you see that lockup, are you going to say that's it?
Well, the advantage you have, you can open the hood, roll. Let's check those front tires to see if there's any flat spot. Let's see what happens to the 8 of Kyle Busch.
Use all the racetrack. Look at this.
Wow.
I mean, that tire just moves. It doesn't. Look at the right front fender. It's probably not damaged. That's the advantage of those tire packs is that you can brush up against them and it doesn't damage the car. It leaves a little mark,
Yeah.
but it's all fine.
You did say it would bend. Kyle Busch just wanted to prove you right, Jeff. What?
Every now and then I'm right. Appreciate Kyle helping me out.
You didn't test it out with a base car earlier, did you?
I do not.
Were you tempted to?
No, DJ did the ride today.
Oh, TJ drove today.
Yeah, he got some laps.
I brought the Hall of Famer in.
You know, hey.
That's right.
Good
You're out, Burton. Hall of Famers in.
Yeah, the bullpen. You want to get a Hall of Famer, Stevie, you know?
That's a good pick. You did sit on the pole, Watkins Glen.
Pick that right-hander, right?
He claims it didn't happen, but it did. I saw it.
It did.
How'd you do qualifying at road courses, Jeff?
Hey, look at this lap push ass run.
That's your way of not answering that. So a second run, Steve, we can tell you're not going to get much more life out of those tires, but Kyle Busch trying it.
Riley Herbst in fifth. By the time I saw that car, it was attempting to roll over out of the tire barrier, and here it is in fifth.
And they have not improved the look of it. But
Wow, you kidding me? It looks like a monster. Leave that thing. It's perfect for the paint scheme. I love it. They should absolutely. That's how it should start the race.
let's give some credit to the young driver. First ever Cup race and at the Roval, and Carson Osavar spins
Another mistake.
Pull it down, bring it down.
at the oval start finish line, and you hear Luke Lambert say, "Bring it to us."
Well, cool it down
He can
first. try
cool
to
it
cycle
down.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just run his fastest lap. His third lap was his fastest lap.
Wow, look at that lockout.
Cooked it down in here, and
Oh, wow. Those
Wow.
turtles.
those things are about 7 inches tall. They look like they're 3 feet tall when they hit them. Hit the end of them, it just launches the car.
Yeah, you used your phone earlier to measure them. You put your phone down right on the turtles to see how big they really are.
Big hits in the middle. Got the hits much as hard.
Whack.
Whoa,
Yeah.
man. I mean, that's got to be a hard hit behind the wheel.
Oh, it's really hard. Yeah, remember at Watkins at Watkins Glen, they took those big turtles out because through the inner loop they would hit. You had to hit them every lap, and it was so jarring to the drivers. It was like crashing every single lap, so they took them out.
That's what I like about the tire barrier at the first corner.
Yes.
Of the front chicane.
Okay.
Is it the drivers can hit the turtles with the tire, but not something like that.
Yeah.
I know we just saw Kyle touch the tires, but I think it doesn't. These drivers are required to basically jump the curbs at Watkins Glen. How about this paint scheme?
Pretty cool. Seen that with a couple of cars. The Haynes paint scheme always, or jockey paint scheme, I should say, always seems to have that look. But Cambridge and their STEM program, home with the look of the driver behind the wheel. Suarez in the green.
A lot of lap left.
Oh, wow.
Well, not in the green anymore.
Yep. In the clag.
He was in the green through the front stretch chicane. Turn 1, he lost it. Alternate start-finish line is in the middle of oval 3 and 4, so they actually kind of start their lap coming through the front stretch chicane as far as the timing portion of it. And for Daniel Suarez, he's back out there for the second time, just trying to improve off of his first lap time from earlier in the session. Actually, no, that was the first lap Suarez has ran in general, so I'm wrong on that. He'll end up more than likely running a second lap because he's over a second off of Ty Gibbs' fast lap right now. Considering how much of a mistake he had into the first turn, locked up the front tires. And then up into the marbles where we will see a lot of marbles kicked up with the loose rubber around the racetrack. You get up into that stuff and at that point you're driving on ice, trying to keep your car in the correct direction. Carson Hocevar went for a spin on his second trip out after making a mistake on his first attempt at a qualifying run. He did pick up on the second lap. Then he was going to go for a third, and that wasn't enough either. Hocevar is currently 11th. Daniel Suarez 8th after his first lap, now currently running his second. Locked the tires up into the front stretch chicane. Was able to make the corner, though. He didn't miss it. He's definitely going for everything. Zane Smith back on the racetrack again. Ryan Preece also back out on the track. Smith is currently 10th. Preece 13th. It is a reminder also that the Group 2 drivers still have to go out and make their qualifying run as well. So no time is necessarily safe for these drivers that are currently up there, although Ty Gibbs a pretty fast lap. That is going to be competitive, I would think, for the pole. 86.16. That was 0.6 quicker than A.J. Allmendinger. Only the top 2 times of Ty Gibbs and A.J. Allmendinger of the Group 1 drivers in qualifying was faster than the fastest lap that A.J. put down in practice, which was an 86.63. 86.608 for A.J. and again, 86.1 for Ty Gibbs. Have to start your lap at the alternate start-finish line before the clock hits zeros. We have 30 seconds left on it right now. And if you do not get to that time in its scoring line before the clock hits zero, then the next lap is disallowed. Alex Bowman back on the racetrack. He's currently in 9th. He's pacing about a half a second off of Ty Gibbs' time for right now. Now, if he can hold that for the second half of this lap, he could be flirting with a top 3 spot. He's losing a little bit of time at the end of the infield portion of the racetrack. Back up onto the oval, and he lost a lot of time at turn 7. I was kind of expecting that, knowing he had multiple laps on his tires already. Get into that hairpin at turn 7, you just got to start braking way earlier, lap over lap over lap. It's going to cause you to lose more and more lap time. I don't think anybody's taking down Ty Gibbs. At least not for Group 1. Group 2, that could be a different answer to that question. Shane Robinson, James, welcome into the stream. Of newcomers, Oscar, welcome in as well. Got almost 150 people in the chat. Greatly appreciate that. We've got about a half hour of the stream or so left. Again, 20 minutes for Group 2. And their qualifying run will be up next. Then we'll go through the starting lineup for tomorrow's race. Immediately after qualifying is done, you'll get to hear interviews from the front row starters as well. SVG trying to go for a pole for back-to-back years at the Charlotte Roval. And he's trying to go for 5 road course wins in a row. Last road course race was in August at Watkins Glen. Love the coverage. Appreciate that, Shane. We did get to our like goal of 50 likes on the stream, but be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage at 5 p.m. Eastern later on today. We will have NASCAR Cup Series race coverage tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on the channel. We have live commentary streams every weekend for NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and truck racing, as well as Cup practice and qualifying. Next week from Las Vegas, the Truck Series will be off, so it'll be Xfinity and Cup action only. Again, from Las Vegas, Saturday, Sunday. After tomorrow's race, only 4 races left of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. It's the round of 12 elimination race. We'll take a look at those playoff standings again. Those are also scrolling across the top of the screen throughout today's coverage. Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney with wins in the first 2 races of the round. Elliott at Kansas last week. The week before that at New Hampshire for Ryan Blaney. 54-point cushion for Kyle Larson, who is currently 3rd in the standings. Denny Hamlin plus 48. Christopher Bell plus 44, and William Byron plus 40. Tighter around the cut line for Chase Briscoe, who's plus 21, and Joey Logano, the last driver, in plus 13 over Ross Chastain, who's the first driver out at minus 13 points. Bubba Wallace minus 26, minus 29 for Tyler Reddick and Austin Cindric, minus 48. If you're just tuning in for the first time wondering what the heck happened in practice and qualifying so far, tire wear, a lot of it. More than what we've seen on any road course race in the NASCAR Next Gen era. Kind of similar to Bristol a few weeks ago with the fall off. We had about 5 seconds of fall off over a 12-lap run in practice. So when I say it's about as bad as Bristol, if not worse, it really is. And it's going to be interesting to see how these teams adapt. Now, one thing that has not changed is that Shane Van Gisbergen was the best on the long run, as we've seen out of road courses so far this season. We haven't seen this much fall off on a road course race, but we did see a little bit at Mexico City and at Watkins Glen, and he was able to dominate, win both of those races by over 10 seconds on a long green flag run at the finish. And if we do have a long green flag run in stage 3 to get to the end of the race, it's going to be tough to beat that 88, who will be going for his 5th win of the season and his 6th of his Cup career. Ty Gibbs is the driver to beat, lap time-wise, in qualifying. And we'll see if anybody's going to be able to beat him. Gibbs did have the fastest 5-lap average in practice, and he was also 2nd fastest overall. He's had great runs on road courses so far this season. Take a look at his race finishes on road courses. Definitely the most consistent style of racetrack for him so far this year, despite the fact that he is 20th in points. He has had 9 top 10 finishes, 4 top 5s. Didn't have a good run at COTA very early in the year, but the road courses from the summer onward, Mexico City ended up 11th. He legitimately had probably the only car that was somewhat capable of keeping up with SVG in that race, falling behind on the rain strategy. He was kind of late to get the dry tires on compared to getting the wet tires off at the beginning of that race, and that's what cost him track position. He was never able to overcome it. But then we go to Chicago, and the street race he finished 2nd, 7th at Sonoma, Watkins Glen 33rd, but scored quite a few stage points that day. Got caught up in an incident late. Speed has been there for Ty Gibbs on the road courses. And where the tires fell off a ton, just like Bristol Motor Speedway, he led over 100 laps in that race and had a top 10 run, so maybe this could fare well for Ty Gibbs in managing tires. Trying to get to the end of the runs, save the speed for late. I think this race is definitely going to be more of a wild card race than what we would usually see. Maybe not for the win, because I still think SVG is a heavy favorite, but as far as the playoff standings go, I think a lot could shape up, and I do not think guys like Briscoe and Logano are locks by any means. 21 and 13 points above the cut line. I don't even think that necessarily guys like William Byron and Christopher Bell, who should be quick tomorrow, are going to be locks at plus 44 or 40 points above the cut line. Denny Hamlin plus 48. They would be locks if we don't get a new winner of those 4 drivers: Chastain, Reddick, Wallace, and Cindric below the cut line. But if for some reason one of those 4 were to win, late race restart situation or whatnot, then the gap that, for instance, Byron has over Logano is only 27. The gap for Denny Hamlin is about 25 to that of Joey Logano, 35, to that of Joey Logano. And Hamlin has not been great on road courses in the next gen era. That'd be the only way that they would get bumped, but it's not impossible knowing the fall off this weekend. Because I do think we are going to see quite a few cautions in tomorrow's race as a result of this. Now, drivers will be able to adapt. We'll probably see some longer green flag runs once it gets strung out, but on the restarts in particular, kind of like we saw at Bristol, quite a few cautions in the beginning portion of that final stage, and then they got on another roughly 100 lap green flag run before a late caution towards the end. Clock is ticking for qualifying. We've got some drivers out on the racetrack. Ross Chastain seems to be the first out there of the playoff drivers and or Group 2 drivers in this session.
Todd Gilliland comes out behind him. Eric Jones will not take a lap in this qualifying session. Would have been in Group B, but power steering issue for their Toyota and Legacy Motor Club.
Chastain just rolling around really slowly. Will wait as long as he thinks he can. See, he's building up speed now.
Great chance for us to go on board for a qualifying lap here, Jeff, at the Roval.
And he's still not up to full speed. He's going to wait. He's going to leave right here. Speed, 100% throttle. Salter to start finish line right there. It's high pressure. He knows he has to lay a lap down here. Seen a lot of people miss this corner. Feel like Chastain got to the bottom like he needed to there. That corner, man, it's become more of a corner than I remember.
It's a bit sneaky, isn't it, Steve?
It really is. Then down here, there's just a real slippery section. It's going to be patient. Wow, even on new tires at qualifying speed, they are tiptoeing around here. You can just hear he cannot get the rear tires to hook up, can't get the front tires to turn.
It just goes so slow through there in turn 7. The spotters helping a little lock up there.
At 30 miles an hour, 33 miles an hour. That's how slow they're going in the middle of that corner.
Wow.
Remember, Gibbs is about 0.4 of a second faster than Allmendinger is second.
Tell you what, he was a second off of the quick time in practice, Jeff. So to be here 2-3 tenths off in qualifying, you happy with that?
Well, he didn't get that exit set up very well right there. He got in the corner, just didn't get it lined up very well. Look at that.
Oh.
Huge fight. Wow. Just trying to run the apron. We've seen a lot of drivers trying to run the apron. They just can't keep the car to stay there. You had to get out of the gas, I think, before the line. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a third for Ross Chastain. We were on board. This is the first part of that lap where we were talking to look like a sneaky handful, and you can see he lays tire tracks down there.
You can see how much the cars are bouncing and moving. And then this right here, I think you get out of gas when this thing steps up on the. Oof. I don't know what that's worth, but I think I would just run around the bottom and stay off the apron.
That was a handful on board.
Listen. Yeah, he lifted.
Man,
He had to lift or he was going to hit the wall.
he's driving that thing every second. Here's Todd Gilliland.
Yeah, he's out of the groove. The guys behind him like it. He's pushing all the rubber marbles off out of the groove.
Tell you what, that turn 2 has kind of become the little action spot on this track, hasn't it? Especially as many marbles as are sitting over there, on the corner of the track.
What's interesting is it seems like it starts in turn 1. Like if you don't hit turn 1 exactly right, the cars don't make enough grip to recover. And then as you start up the hill, look at that elevation change. That is leaving turn 1, approaching turn 2. So you start up the hill, and then as you go through turn 2, look at this elevation change, how you're going downhill. You get into the banking of turn 2. Look how much banking there is there, right? There's a lot of banking, but then as you go downhill into turn 3, downhill braking is difficult for any race car. It does not want to stop as well. Car doesn't sit like you want it to sit, and you have a very tough right-hander, Mamba.
Yeah, I was just sitting here watching as Ross Chastain made that lap. The shifting that is going to change in race, guys, versus in the practice and in qualifying, coming through the track in 3 and 4, NASCAR 3 and 4, it seems so sketchy. And obviously during qualifying, they're running the apron. When they're in race mode, though, how is that going to affect them? How are they going to be able to maneuver? It might be a big place to make some moves.
Yeah, I think the exit of that backstretch chicane is pretty wide open, and that's what we've seen, right? If you get a good entry and middle, you could pull up next to a guy and kind of drag race around to the front stretch. Cindric already way off the pace.
I think
by design.
Yeah, I think what he's doing, I think he's intentionally going around here really slow. I think he believes that a little bit of heat in the tire may make the tire perform better. Huh. So he's riding around really, really slow. This is what I mean about there just seem to be so many science experiments going on, way more than normal. Just kind of, we don't know. We'll try this. You try that. See what happens.
That's what happens when you have no idea what the answer is. To I think you know what this is? This is the multiple choice test where you ABCDEA. You just hope you had a couple of it right.
But that's how I got through high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the SAT, Steve, right?
Yeah. Oh, hey, C. Statistically, it's C.
That's right.
All right, so
See if this science experiment works, Jeff.
when will he decide to start to roll? Certainly starting to build some speed. He wants to enter the rear chicane with a reasonable amount of speed. Something key to it, though, is the speed you cover leaving the corner. Right, so give up a little bit here, but right there, and you be in the gas, going to the alternate start finish line. Let's see if this works. What I want to talk about, Steve, is what's on the right-hand side of the screen. Look at all the playoff cars just sitting and waiting. I almost would rather have some clean racetrack. Would you not? Or would you rather go out with all those cars who are sitting and there's, the clock's ticking down under 13 minutes to go?
Well, there's more than enough track for all of them. I think they want to see what this experiment right here does. And, maybe they want to go out and kind of be on track together. Maybe your driver wants to chase them and you have a little bit of pace.
Well, like Austin missed the start of the front chicane. That messed him up a little bit on the exit. Wasn't terrible. I mean, considering they were almost 2 seconds off of the fast time in practice, they're at least in the game here, Jeff. You remember Chastain was the second car. He's the fastest that has gone out in this group. Oh, no. We've seen this. This is something that Cindric is going to be so upset at himself about. We've seen qualifying be very difficult for this team for the last few weeks, and it's really set him back. I'm surprised he's not more than that off.
That was very impressive that as he basically was getting ready to spin out, he just downshifted and gassed it up. I'm with you, Jeff. It could have very easily been way more time than this. There's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be really irritated because he's going to out-qualify them with basically spinning out of the chicane. 6.
Yeah.
We can take another look at that right here. It looks like he gets a little wheel hop or lock up right here. Yep, right rear, I believe.
Right rear was sliding, most likely.
Yeah, I thought this car didn't really wheel hop as much.
Well, normally it doesn't, but back to their setups, right? The softer you get, the less controlled the tires are. So even if it starts to lock up, I don't think it's a wheel hop in its traditional sense of like drive shaft wrap up, but you can still get too much overstopping with the rear tires and they skip across the pavement. So you're right, Marty. It's not a wheel hop as we'd have seen in Xfinity or trucks, but it still kind of gets that porpoising or skipping across the racetrack.
Track getting a little.
About 10 and a half minutes yet to go in qualifying. We've only seen 3 of the 17 drivers in Group 2 go out and make a lap. And I say 17 because Eric Jones, with power steering issues towards the end of practice, will not participate in qualifying. Got a few drivers out on the track right now, like Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin. Brad nearly missing the front stretch chicane, braking a little too late. Denny Hamlin going to try to run another lap. Hamlin in the green through the front stretch chicane. So far, so good. His teammate Ty Gibbs is the driver to beat right now in qualifying. We haven't seen Denny Hamlin with great performances on the road courses in the next-gen era, at least consistently. And he actually missed one of the road course races earlier this season in Mexico City as well. Chris Buescher, who was pretty good on long run speed in practice, right there with William Byron. And just behind SVG, of course, of the Group 2 drivers, is tracking pretty well in qualifying so far also. Hamlin lost quite a bit of time in turn 6. Turn 7, it looks like he went a little bit too far wide, lost a little bit more time. Easy to get out of rhythm when you miss one corner, can very well miss the next. Alan C. Crow, welcome to the stream. CW, local CW affiliate is where you can watch Xfinity Series Racing later. Or right here on the channel, we'll have live commentary coverage for you as usual. Connor Zilic trying to go for yet another win on the season. Corey Heim able to win yesterday's race in the Truck Series, breaking Greg Biffle's all-time record for the most wins in a single season in the NASCAR Truck Series. 1999, Biffle won 9 races. Heim up to 10 with 3 races still to go at Talladega, Martinsville, and Phoenix, as he still tries to go for his first career title. I think I did read somewhere, if he ends up winning these last 3 races of the season, then Corey Heim would be tied for 5th all time in Truck Series wins in just 3 seasons. That's insane. Chris Buescher, fastest of anybody in this group, with an 86.48 second lap time. It's just over 3/10 off of Ty Gibbs for the pole lap. Everything you see on our screen right now, this is only the Group 2 drivers. Still quite a few have to make a lap yet, or at least complete a lap. William Byron out there right now hasn't completed a lap, but he's tracking in the green on Gibbs. So Gibbs' lap time to beat is an 86.16. So if you see anything better than an 86.16 on our screen, that will show to you that somebody has topped Gibbs' fast lap. SVG has not been out on the track. Obviously a heavy favorite for the pole. He got the pole for this race a year ago in colleague racing equipment. Michael McDowell, pretty solid on the road courses, has yet to make a lap. Kyle Larson, defending winner of this race. Christopher Bell, a former winner at the Roval. They all still have to go. Byron, third of this group, 86.809 as he crosses. And that is going to put him 5th overall. Michael McDowell, even quicker than that, 86.571. And McDowell is up to 3rd. So McDowell 3rd on the timing sheet. Bumping Byron now back to 6th then. Denny Hamlin, pretty respectable lap. Currently in 7th. Again, we don't usually see Denny run well on the road courses with this next-gen car, but good qualifying effort at least. And he could probably be in the strategy to try to go on the race win side of things, as he's still looking for win number 60 after a week ago, nearly getting it on the final lap, battling his own car, driven by Bubba Wallace at 2311 Racing. Contact on the final lap, final corner. Allowed for Chase Elliott to sneak through and get the win. Chase Elliott, multi-time Roval winner, 2019-2020, has not made a qualifying lap. Briscoe, who's set 7 poles so far this season, also has not qualified. So we've got some heavy hitters yet in these final 6 minutes to go. Christopher Bell is tracking in the green. So is SVG to that of Ty Gibbs' lap. Oh, Bell had a big loose moment, though, out of turn number 4, it looked like. Still tracking in the green for the time being. Turn 7. Oh, and he is sliding big time. He pulled an Austin Cindric. Turn 7, Christopher Bell was pacing about 3/10 to the good on his qualifying lap to that of his teammate Ty Gibbs. But it was turn 7 that bit him, very similar to that of Austin Cindric, who is still in 10th. Bell's still going to have a good lap, 86.591. It's going to put him 4th. SVG just put down an 85.971, almost 2/10 quicker than Ty Gibbs. SVG to the top of the speed charts, and he is now on the pole spot with 5 minutes to go in qualifying. He was averaging over a second faster a lap. 15 plus laps on his tires during his portion of the run in practice. Oh, SVG's maybe going to be in the way of Bubba Wallace here. Nope, he ducked out of line at the last second. He wasn't going to be able to make the pits because of charging the apron through oval 3 and 4 to the timing line. So as he was backing it down, Bubba Wallace was trying to pick his speed up, so he could try to compete for a good qualifying effort here. Bubba currently in 8th. I don't think Tyler Reddick has made a lap yet. Chase Elliott has not made a lap. Neither has Ryan Blaney, Chase Briscoe, or Kyle Larson. So 5 drivers all in the playoffs we have not seen complete a lap yet. Larson on the track right now has already began his lap. Same for Briscoe. Got to get to that timing and scoring line before triple zeros. Time to beat again for SVG on our screen, or at least it was. 85.971. Larson a couple tenths off of that. Still get himself up into the top couple spots, though, and it was about a 2/10 of a second split between first and second. Larson into turn number 7. We've seen several drivers make a mistake there already in this run. No mistake for Larson. Still about 2/10 off of SVG's lap, but could be flirting with a front row start in second. Not quite going to get to second. Third for Larson, 86.306. It was a great effort. Larson, a 2-time winner at the Charlotte Roval 2021 and last season in 2024. Briscoe is about half a second off, and Ryan Blaney on the racetrack. Remember, he actually had beaten SVG for the pole at Watkins Glen back in August. So does Ryan Blaney maybe have something to top SVG for the second consecutive road course race in qualifying? It doesn't look like it. It's more than a half a second off on his lap. Chase Elliott just starting his lap on the track, and he's already a couple tenths off of SVG. And SVG back out there running yet another lap as a backup. Not looking like it's going to be as good of his first lap, but doesn't look like anybody's going to have anything for Shane Van Gisbergen. And Tyler Reddick is the only driver that has not made a lap yet, as we have 2 minutes to go in this session. And Eric Jones, again, with the power steering issues post-practice, will not participate in qualifying. Tyler Reddick has won 3 road course races in the next-gen era. Can he top Shane Van Gisbergen for the pole? Reddick is pacing very well. He is flirting with the green on SVG. Ryan Blaney just qualified 10th. Chase Elliott right there behind him, I believe in 11th. Tyler Reddick is still within about a 10th of a second of SVG's lap time as he's entering turn 6. Oh, it looks like on our timing sheet, because it's a little bit ahead of my TV screen, Tyler Reddick did get Shane Van Gisbergen, and I want to see where he got him, because he's still tracking in the red through oval 3 and 4, and I guess he was just able to get to the shifter quicker than SVG. Picked up a 10th of a second into the backstretch chicane. Backed up the corner well, gets the acceleration, kind of like he did out of turn 7 then, and job well done for Tyler Reddick. Reddick to the top spot with that 85.939. He maybe isn't in a must-win situation, but if he can qualify on the pole, win the first 2 stages, that's 20 points right there that he could maybe pick up on Joey Logano, which would put him at a 9-point deficit into the final stage. So again, not a must-win situation for Reddick, so qualifying on the pole, very huge for him. Time is about to hit zeros, And only Ross Chastain is out on the racetrack, save for Logano and Buescher. Logano 17th, Chris Buescher 5th, and Chastain currently 10th. But because they are running multiple laps, they're not going to be able, with the tire fall off, to get a front row starting spot. So it'll be Tyler Reddick and Shane Van Gisbergen on the front row. Second consecutive road course race. SVG qualifies second. This time, though, it's Tyler Reddick getting the pole at the Roval. I'm not going to have the full lineup on our screen, so I'll have to read it off on True TV's coverage sometime soon. Bones does. Irina Sayre. Shout out to you guys tuning in. Terminator Products. Welcome to the stream, many others. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. We'll be live here for about another 5 minutes or so. We'll go through the full field starting lineup as soon as I get the graphic on True TV's coverage. And then you'll get to listen to interviews from today's front row qualifying efforts. Tyler Reddick again on the pole, and Shane Van Gisbergen will be starting second. High fives all the way around for Reddick. He's the only driver without a win in the round of 12 of the playoffs. Maybe he could finally get it done here. Not a road course that he has won at of the 3 in his Cup career. Yes, the speed was in the mullet the whole way.
Better time to get it done. Tyler, pressure's on, back against the wall, and you give your team an opportunity to go get it done tomorrow. What do you think about this 45 crew?
Yeah, just incredible effort by this team. I mean, this has been a track that we've been pretty strong at, and you know the tire's a lot different. Obviously, we saw today, so just really proud of this Jordan Wings Toyota Camry. I mean, it's been a difficult week, and yeah, it's nice we got the job done today. We obviously have some work to do tomorrow, but we did a good job of getting the track position. So yeah, I'll try and keep Shane behind me and see if we can't get it done tomorrow.
You talk about keeping SVG behind you. What do you think you need out of this 45 Camry to do that?
Well, I need a little bit. We're gonna have to find it. But I believe in my group. I believe in my team. We'll just go to work on it tonight. It was nice that qualifying pace was able to find a little bit more there after practice, and yeah, I think for us we just we gotta think about what we need to improve our long run. And obviously the entire garage is gonna be seeing what Shane did in practice, so we'll be one of them.
Tyler Reddick will be on the pole. Marty, you can tell he is locked in. They're trying to find a little bit more to keep SVG behind him.
Tell you what, Steve, I think this creates a very interesting.
All right, so you heard from Tyler Reddick, the pole sitter. Here is the starting lineup for tomorrow's Bank of America Roval 400. Beginning things off with Reddick on the pole and Shane Van Gisbergen starting in second. Row number 2 will be Ty Gibbs and Kyle Larson. Row 3 for Chris Buescher, Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe in row number 4. AJ Allmendinger, Ross Chastain will round out the top 10 in row 5. Behind them in row number 6. Oh, I lost it. I lost it. I accidentally backed out. I'll go back through the starting lineup here shortly. I'm going to have to wait for it to pop up on NASCAR.com. I was trying to fast forward and ended up turning the channel. Whoops. I don't know if I'm going to be able to go back in the broadcast. No, I can't. They're on the last row right now. Well, shoot. I might be able to find it on my phone. Hold tight for a second. If you're just tuning in right now, again, tomorrow we'll be live at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for NASCAR Cup Series race coverage and 5 p.m. Eastern later today for the NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Connor Zilic going to be on the pole for the Xfinity event. Junior Motorsports locking up the top 5 positions in qualifying earlier this afternoon as well. Oh, that stinks. Gonna try backing out of NASCAR.com and going back in again. I don't know how many minutes it's gonna take for them to actually upload it onto their webpage. Well, I fudged that up. Apologize, gang. Might be locked out now. Yeah, I think I am. That's unfortunate. I got through the top 10 in the starting order, and that was it. Obviously, they'll have it up on NASCAR.com, the NASCAR app, but it's going to be a little bit. They have the results of practice on the app, but they don't have qualifying yet. Entry list, of course, as well. Yeah, I keep refreshing the page. Let me go back on to NASCAR.com one more time. If not, I think I'm just going to have to get out of here because I don't think I'm going to have it for a while. Oh, that's Fantasy League. Yeah, I've got nothing on this end. Well, Tyler Reddick, SVG on the front row. Row number 2 is Ty Gibbs and Kyle Larson, and then I can't really remember in order after that. I'm not going to be able to find it, unfortunately. I apologize for that, everybody. Obviously, we'll have the starting lineup ready to go for the beginning of tomorrow's race stream. What you need to know, though, again, Tyler Reddick on the pole, AJ Allmendinger fastest in practice. Going to see a lot of tire fall off in the race tomorrow. Long run speed is going to be at the premium. I'll see you guys for tomorrow afternoon's live commentary stream at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, Xfinity race coverage today at 5 p.m. Eastern. Connor Zilic trying to go for another road course race win from the pole in that 67-lap race right here at the Charlotte Roval. See you soon. A little less than an hour from then. Thanks for watching again, everybody.